President gaining the most attention is Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelenskyy, crisscrossing town today, Capitol Hill, the Pentagon, the White House. And at this hour, he is speaking to supporters as well. He's trying to bring back home more U.S. money, U.S. weapons as well, as Russia's invasion of Ukraine is now in month 19. But it has been a much different reception since the last time the Ukrainian leader was here in Washington. Here he was in December. That, of course, a standing O before Congress, but now serious reservations among many House Republicans. Here was the House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, in advance of the trip earlier this week.
Is Zelenskyy elected to Congress? Is he our president? I don't think I have to commit anything. I have questions for him. Where's the accountability on the money we already spent? What is the plan for victory? I think that's what the American public wants to know.
My, Julia, how times have changed.
Times have changed. And, look, I think we've been waiting for a while for this moment to happen, because remember in 2022, the beginning of the year, there was a lot of support for Ukraine, obviously, bipartisan support. It was something that Republicans and Democrats could easily get together on. But I think as the year went on and into 2023, we started to see, some very conservative Republicans, the Freedom Caucus in particular, or even some populist progressive Democrats start to voice some real reservations about why we're giving so much money to Ukraine when we have our own problems at home. We're dealing with inflation and economic issues. So, this doesn't surprise me at all, but I think it shows really the fracturing of the Republican Party. You hear Kevin McCarthy making those comments, but today, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell essentially said, this isn't charity to Ukraine. This is in the U.S. best interest.
Charlie, former Republican congressman in the House. There's a split here among the Senate and the House, and then within the House Republicans among each other as to where this goes and whether we should be sending more U.S. money to Ukraine.
Well, this is a very small tail wagging a much larger dog. That is, most House Republicans want to support the Ukraine war effort. They do. What's sad here is they're talking about pulling money out of the defense appropriations bill, Ukraine money out, to please Marjorie Taylor Greene and the small minority of Republicans who don't want to fund Ukraine. This has to end. There's a way to deal with this. Put the bill on the floor, let them vote on it. Ukraine aid will pass overwhelmingly in the House with strong support of Republicans as well as Democrats. That's what we're dealing with right now. Time to stop feeding the crocodiles, stop appeasing these people. The Ukrainians are doing the world a great service by degrading the Russian military. Everybody knows this. It's not charity. They're dying for freedom. Not one American has died in this conflict.
Denise, he's been everywhere. Volodymyr Zelenskyy today has been all over Washington. Has his appearance moved the needle either in one direction or the next?
I don't even know if anyone's paying attention to what he's saying. I think they're more interested in what the polls are saying. And unfortunately, the polls are showing a shift away from what I think is the correct answer, which is that we should continue to support them for a lot of geopolitical reasons, well beyond just Russia. But I think that everyone is kind of doing the opposite of whatever Biden and or the House Freedom Caucus wants to do. Instead of just doing the right thing, this is what we're lacking in Congress right now, is just some courage to stand for principles that they've always stood for and do the right thing, regardless of what the polls show. And if you're more concerned about upsetting voters, then you shouldn't be in Congress.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.